It's Thursday evening. And babes, we are back on our spiral shit.
Oh, we are so incredibly back.
Snark Squad, welcome back. We love you. We see you. Thank you for listening to us. And babes, don't forget to share this with a friend.
Yes, please traumatize your friends with our hyperfixations.
Babes, the wine is out. We are caffeinated, activated, and so ready to discuss.
Completely vibrating at a frequency that is honestly dangerous.
And on deck tonight, blood orange margaritas.
Which, by the way, are currently sitting at a completely lethal viscosity.
Babes, these are so good.
We threw them in the Ninja slush machine, and I feel like I have a moral obligation to issue a public health warning to the Snark Squad right now.
I am just so obsessed with the vibe. It is this perfectly vibrant, deep, dramatic blood orange color. It exactly matches the absolute bloodbath we're about to recap tonight.
I mean, the color's beautiful, sure, but the science happening in this glass is terrifying. The sugar to tequila ratio in these things when they are slushed.
It's so icy, you can't even taste it.
Exactly. It entirely bypasses your liver and goes straight to your prefrontal cortex. You do not taste the alcohol. The ice crystals mask the ethanol burn perfectly.
It's just frosty, citrusy joy.
Right. It's joy. And then suddenly you're double texting your ex and aggressively defending minor reality television stars on Twitter. It's dangerous.
It is exactly the energy we need tonight. And babes, by the time you hear this, it's probably Friday. So happy Friday, babes. Happy weekend.
The best day of the week.
Also, babes, we bought our tickets, Boston, and then we're driving to Salem. We are so excited.
We are fully committing to the autumnal chaos. I am mentally preparing myself for the sheer volume of historical witch tourism we are about to consume.
Oh my God, the energy is going to be immaculate. Just crisp fall air, cozy, oversized knit sweaters, just absolute witchy vibes walking down those cobblestone streets. I am ready to be spooky.
You have literally been planning the outfits for 3 weeks.
I have. I am ready to be enchanted. But the planning is kind of sending me into a spiral, which brings up a very important question we need to ask you, the Snark Squad. So we need to ask, flying first class, is it worth it?
Here we go.
Because, babes, we are flying economy. But to those who fly first class, talk to us.
Please, anybody, explain the financial gymnastics to me. Because I need a PowerPoint presentation on how this makes any mathematical sense.
Okay, wait, because I sit in the back?
Right.
And I look through that little mesh curtain, and I just romanticize it so hard.
You are romanticizing a curtain.
I am. I imagine sitting down, stretching my legs all the way out, and immediately being handed like a glass of free champagne and an actual glass flute before takeoff.
It's a $7 sparkling wine, let's be real.
But the warm nuts, they bring you warm nuts in a little ceramic ramekin. You arrive at your destination refreshed, hydrated, glowing. It just feels like a completely different elevated life. You step off the plane, ready to conquer the world.
Okay, let's actually break down the cost to reality ratio here, because the illusion of luxury is working overtime on your brain. You are paying, 3 to 4 times the price of a regular ticket?
I mean, yeah, it's expensive.
Right. And for what? A seat that is mathematically maybe 4 to 6 inches wider? A fabric curtain that provides 0 actual soundproofing from the crying baby in row 12?
But it's so peaceful up there.
And here's the kicker. It is the exact same recycled, dry airplane air that the rest of us are breathing in row 32. The plane lands at the exact same time. You are paying an $800 premium for a warm cashew and a hot towel. The math isn't mathing.
But it's the psychological experience. It's the peace of mind. You don't have to fight for overhead bin space. You don't have to awkwardly rub elbows with the person next to you while you try to eat your tiny pretzels.
The luxury of arriving at the baggage claim carousel 3 minutes before me is not worth the price of a mortgage payment.
You are so harsh.
I am practical. I will proudly take my economy seat, download a documentary on the Salem witch trials, and use that extra $800 to buy an entirely new fall wardrobe when we land. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, fair. Honestly, I can't even argue with the wardrobe logic.
Yeah.
If I have to choose between leg room and a stunning wool coat, I am choosing the coat every single time.
Exactly. Priorities.
And babes, we are picking up a rental car.
Yeah.
And driving together.
Yeah.
An hour. Just us.
There is no escape for either of us. The doors lock, the engine starts, and the unhinged, hyperfixated conversations begin.
It is going to be so hyper-specific. We already have the playlist ready. Pure 2000s pop punk and early R&B. We're going to be blasting Dashboard Confessional and Usher.
The tonal whiplash of that playlist is going to be severe.
And then abruptly pausing the music in the middle of a chorus just to scream about whatever celebrity gossip alert just popped up on our phones.
Because there is a very specific type of psychological spiraling that only happens in a moving vehicle.
Oh, totally.
You're trapped in this little metal box, staring at the highway lines blurring past, and suddenly you are dissecting a reality star's Instagram grid from 2018 to prove a theory about a fake business loan. The acoustics of a rental car just amplify the snark.
It's a sacred space.
Yeah.
It is where the best theories are born. Because, babes, we want to go to a restaurant. The Cozy Taberna. We are so excited.
I have already memorized the menu.
We are praying brunch is still on when we get there. I've been drooling over the menu for 3 days. Spanish French toast, Spanish breakfast poutine. Babes, we cannot wait.
The tactical approach to this menu is already being heavily drafted in my notes app. I'm not even kidding.
Because brunch is lifestyle. It's not just a meal. It is an entire state of mind. It is an event.
The absolute best brunch vibe requires a highly calibrated over-ordering strategy for the table. You cannot just go rogue.
No, you need a plan.
You need one sweet dish for the center, like the Spanish French toast you mentioned, and 2 savory dishes. The structural integrity of the meal demands a savory anchor.
Yes, you have to share.
If you start with too much sugar, the palate gets fatigued. You need the salt, the fat, the potatoes to balance the maple syrup.
If everyone just orders their own individual plate and refuses to share, the entire brunch ecosystem collapses. It becomes just a regular Tuesday breakfast.
Completely tragic.
And the drinks. The sheer necessity of having a cocktail before noon just to set the tone for the day.
Brunch is literally the only socially acceptable loophole in our culture to drink what is essentially spiked juice out of a goblet at 11 in the morning.
Which brings us right back to these margaritas. Babes, we are tipsy, hungry, and ready for reunion chaos. Let's get into the episode.
Oh, let's get into it. Because tonight we are unpacking a reunion that proves everything we thought we knew about these women was a completely manufactured lie.
I am emotionally exhausted, honestly, but I'm so incredibly invested.
We're witnessing the total collapse of the curated reality TV facade. From fake businesses to fake friendships to literally faked origin stories.
It's too much. Let's start with the absolute cult of Amanda and the scammer energy that was practically radiating off the screen.
Oh, the scammer energy was palpable.
Okay, so Andy brings up Boz, saying that Amanda's coaching courses actually lose money. And Amanda completely denies it, sitting there all cool, giving absolutely nothing.
As usual.
And then, the Bravo editors, who deserve an Emmy, a Pulitzer, and an immediate raise, immediately play the flashback of Boz saying exactly that, on camera, at the vineyard.
The control room editors chose absolute violence, and I respect it deeply.
It was so funny.
What's fascinating here is the blatant hypocrisy we are watching unfold in real time. Boz gets caught lying. She explicitly told the cameras that Amanda's courses weren't her main source of income and that she would lose money if they were.
She said it plain as day.
She gets caught by the tape, and instead of taking accountability or saying, you know what, I misspoke, she immediately pivots. She shifts the goalposts from attacking the financial viability of Amanda's business to attacking the morality of it.
Yes. She looks right at Amanda and says she walked away from a cult only to build one. Which, okay, ouch, that is a heavy accusation.
It's very heavy.
Amanda tries to defend it, saying a cult controls you and strips away your autonomy, whereas her business empowers women to think for themselves. And Boz just looks at her and says, no, you train women to think the exact same way about manifesting money.
Let's actually pause here and explain what is happening beneath the surface, because the Reddit streets have been doing incredible investigative work on this.
Okay, explain that to me like I'm 5. Because I look at her website and it just looks like a lot of beige aesthetic quotes about abundance. How does the affiliate thing actually work?
Right, so instead of just selling a standalone course where you pay a fee and learn a skill, an affiliate model in this specific coaching space often mirrors multi-level marketing tactics.
Like an MLM.
Oh,
gross.
Exactly. You paid a premium to take Amanda's course on manifesting wealth. Then the primary way you actually make that money back is by becoming an affiliate yourself.
Wait, so you have to sell it to other people?
Yep. You get a customized link and you get a kickback for every new person you recruit to take the course. So the success stories Amanda points to aren't necessarily women who used her manifestation techniques to start a bakery or a tech company.
Right.
They are women who made money by selling Amanda's course to other vulnerable women. It creates this artificial echo chamber of success. It makes her program look insanely popular, but it's essentially a commissioned hype machine selling the dream of selling the dream.
Oh my God. It is giving total scammer energy. Like beyond boring actual grifter vibes.
Looked bleak.
I cannot handle her sitting there on that couch, cool as a cucumber, just repeating these empty manifestation buzzwords.
Yeah.
It's like she is completely devoid of actual human feelings. I am begging her to use her own courses to manifest a real storyline and a real personality for this show.
She won't, though. The curated perfection is the brand.
Right now, she is giving us nothing but an empty, beige Instagram grid vibe. Give us some actual friction.
It's a completely curated facade designed to protect that specific brand at all costs. And when Boz attacks her, Amanda's defense is just so hollow. She says manifesting money is only a small part of her curriculum, but Boz and Rachel completely clock her.
Rachel was not having it.
Rachel points out that literally all Amanda talks about is making money. If you look at the structure of her business, Boz isn't entirely wrong about the cult comparison.
Which is terrifying.
It is a highly controlled narrative, using very specific jargon, designed to sell a uniform mindset. It's not about autonomy, it's about buying into the Amanda ecosystem.
I just need Amanda to give us something real. A tear, an angry shout, anything. But let's move on to someone who always gives us something, even if it's infuriating. Sutton getting called out as Fancy Drew.
Oh, the Nancy Drew of Beverly Hills.
Yes. Sutton gets confronted for doing a massive background check into Amanda's supposed $2 million loan right before filming started. And Erika is furious.
Yeah.
Erika literally explodes, yelling, "Are you effing kidding me?"
Yeah.
Because we all remember Sutton's very intense history of investigating Erika during all of her legal drama.
Let's look at the behavioral pattern here because it's so predictable. Sutton always plays the innocent, pearl-clutching Southern belle. Her default setting is, who me? Heavens no, I didn't do a background check. Someone simply whispered the information to me at a luncheon.
Like a little bird told her.
Oh, please. We know Sutton read the dossier. She reads the LA Times articles. She pulls the public records. To find a $2 million business loan, you're usually looking at UCC filings or corporate registry documents. That doesn't just fall into your lap.
Exactly.
But Sutton wants the tactical advantage of having the information without the moral culpability of having dug for it. It's her ultimate defense mechanism.
She literally admitted to Dorit earlier in the season that she was going to sign up for Amanda's course under a fake name just to see how the financials worked. That is an investigation.
She's a private investigator at this point.
But what I found so incredibly interesting about this specific confrontation was Sutton's entire demeanor on the couch. She is navigating this reunion without her usual vodka courage.
Exactly. This is a massive shift in the reality TV ecosystem. Sutton opened up about her sober journey, admitting she took a break from drinking hard liquor and now only has wine or champagne.
Which is huge.
More importantly, she admitted on camera that she was drinking too frequently and it was affecting her behavior.
I am so proud of her for owning it. It takes a massive amount of vulnerability to admit that on national television, especially in a franchise where holding a cocktail is basically a cast requirement.
It takes away the primary lubricant of reality television production. Alcohol is used on these shows to lower inhibitions, escalate conflict, and make people say the quiet part out loud.
Yep, producer juice.
By removing that, Sutton is completely changing her conflict resolution style. Watch her body language when Erika screams at her. In past seasons, Sutton would have immediately matched that energy, started crying, or hurled a wild accusation back.
She would have been shaking.
Now, she's less erratic. She sits there, absorbs the hit, but you can also see she's struggling to find her footing. She doesn't have that immediate, fiery, alcohol-fueled defense mechanism ready to fire. She is having to process the conflict in real time.
And it led to an actual, genuine apology. She looked right at Jennifer Tilly and apologized for barking at her during the season.
Which was shocking.
Which, speaking of Jennifer Tilly, can we please talk about the fashion?
Sure.
Because we need to unpack this look.
The ball mane. The sheer audacity of the garment.
Custom ball mane. She walks out onto the reunion stage in this stunning architectural dress, and she casually mentions to Andy that it is a standing dress.
A standing dress. For a 10-hour reunion.
Meaning, if she physically bends her body to sit down on the couch, it completely messes up the structure of the massive face woven into the fabric. So she pairs this restrictive, high-fashion, sit-proof gown with literal, chunky combat boots. It is the ultimate flex. True, eccentric Hollywood glamour.
It's absurd, and I absolutely love it. It's the kind of unhinged, deeply impractical fashion that reality TV was made for. Think about the evolution of reunion fashion.
It used to be so basic.
10 years ago, they were buying off-the-rack cocktail dresses from a department store. Now they're wearing museum archival pieces that require a dedicated handler and literally prevent them from bending their knees for 12 straight hours of filming. It's fashion as physical armor.
It's so good.
But while Jennifer is bringing the visual glamour, the actual friendship dynamics on that side of the couch are incredibly bleak.
It's so deeply sad to watch. Garcelle completely skipped the reunion. She didn't even film a video message.
Nothing. Silence.
She cited that Sutton didn't give back to the friendship, that it was entirely one-sided. Sutton sat there looking heartbroken, saying she would have done anything for Garcelle and her boys, but the loss of that friendship just hurts my heart. They were the iconic duo. They anchored that side of the cast.
The fallout is real, and it comes down to emotional economics. Garcelle realized the emotional return on investment just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sutton requires a massive amount of tending to. She requires constant validation, emotional support, and defense in group settings. If Garcelle is pouring all of her energy into managing Sutton's anxieties and isn't getting that same fierce loyalty and support reciprocated when she needs it, a boundary has to be drawn.
It's exhausting.
Garcelle protecting her own peace by opting out of the reunion entirely is a huge statement.
I just hope they can find their way back to each other.
Oh.
But the real friendship funeral of the night. I am still recovering from this segment. Kyle versus Dorit.
Oh, boy.
This was 10 years of history, vacations, shared secrets, and alliances burning down to the ground right in front of our eyes.
It was a masterclass in deflection, weaponized grievances, and the complete destruction of a curated alliance.
Dorit is so furious that Kyle skipped her book cover launch party, and Kyle, who's been holding it in all season, just loses it. She screams that she has supported Dorit fiercely for a decade. She is listing the receipts like a CVS receipt.
She went all the way back.
She brings up the Buca di Beppo room design, the Beverly Beach swimwear line, defending Dorit's constantly migrating fake accent, the entire Lucy Applejuice dog scandal.
Let's briefly contextualize those receipts for the timeline, because Kyle is essentially mapping out her entire history of labor for Dorit. Buca di Beppo, when Dorit inexplicably redesigned a single dining room in a mid-tier mall Italian restaurant, Kyle showed up and treated it like it was the Met Gala.
She really did.
Beverly Beach, Kyle wore the swimsuits. The dog scandal, when Dorit gave a rescue dog away and it ended up in a kill shelter, sparking a massive press leak, Kyle went to war to protect Dorit's reputation.
Kyle is saying, I have been the architect of your survival on this show for 10 years.
And she actually brought the physical, printed out text messages. Kyle pulls out a stack of paper to prove that Dorit was perfectly fine with her missing the party, until Boz got involved.
As a connoisseur of the printed receipt, watching her pull out the physical text was deeply satisfying. She had the dates, the timestamps, and the exact verbiage.
She highlighted them. The texts show Dorit saying, essentially, I totally understand, you have so much going on, don't worry about missing it. Then a few days later, suddenly it's this massive, unforgivable betrayal. Kyle clocked the timeline perfectly. You cannot argue with the iCloud, Dorit.
Okay, but I need to push back on this a little bit.
Yeah.
I hear you on the text messages, but you can't completely ignore a 10-year friendship. Dorit genuinely looked hurt on that couch.
Did she?
Her voice was shaking. Don't you think the immense financial stress she is under with PK is making her hypersensitive to rejection? If your marriage is falling apart and you feel like you were drowning, your best friend skipping a milestone event, even a silly reality TV milestone like a book cover reveal, could genuinely break your heart.
That is a very empathetic read of the situation, and I don't doubt that Dorit is in a state of emotional freefall due to the PK situation. I concede that her baseline stress levels are astronomical right now.
Right.
However, you do not send a gracious, understanding text message releasing someone from an obligation and then genuinely spiral into profound grief over that missed party days later unless someone convinces you that you should be mad and that someone is Boz.
You really think Boz orchestrated the whole thing?
Absolutely. It is classic producer manipulation executed by a cast member. Boz saw an opening. She saw that the Fox Force 5 alliance was fracturing. She saw that Dorit was emotionally vulnerable and desperate for a storyline that didn't involve her crumbling finances, and she isolated her.
Oh.
She got in Dorit's ear off camera and said, "Can you believe Kyle isn't here? A real friend would show up." Boz manufactured the outrage, and Dorit took the bait because she needed the camera time to secure her diamond for next season.
They're screaming. They're just yelling over each other. And Dorit's voice, I'm sorry, but her voice was giving me a literal migraine. She will not stop talking over Kyle.
Never ends.
She won't let her finish a single sentence. Kyle's getting so frustrated. She literally begs Andy to shut Dorit up, screaming, "Quit pulling a Lisa Vanderpump."
Which is such a heavily loaded insult in the cinematic universe of this specific franchise. To accuse someone of pulling a Vanderpump means accusing them of highly calculated, manipulative, behind-the-scenes orchestration while playing the victim on camera.
The ultimate betrayal.
But what is really happening here is Dorit is fighting for her life. If we look at the mechanics of this show, Dorit has essentially been the vault holding Kyle's massive secret about her relationship with Morgan Wade for years.
Wait, really? You think so?
Think about it. Dorit has covered for Kyle. She has lied on camera to protect Kyle's timeline of events regarding her separation. And now that the friendship is officially dead, Dorit explicitly stated on the couch that they haven't been friends for 2 years. She is weaponizing that secret.
Oh my.
She is heavily implying that she knows exactly what is going on with Kyle's personal life, and she is holding it over her head as a threat.
It is so dark. The collapse of that friendship is just incredibly heavy. But speaking of heavy, not as dark as the Mauricio package. I was getting so emotional watching this part.
It was rough.
They played the pre-taped package of Kyle going back to her old house, the beautiful house that Amanda ended up buying. And the memories of raising her daughters there are just overwhelming her. She is actively sobbing.
Bawling.
And Mauricio is standing right next to her, acting completely, totally unbothered.
He was completely vacant. The lights were on, but absolutely nobody was home.
Kyle tries to defend him on the couch, saying, oh, he's just looking at it like a businessman, looking at the property value and the renovations. But it was freezing. How can you stand next to the mother of your children in the exact house where you raised your babies while she is weeping over the passage of time and the end of an era and just stare blankly at a wall?
I'm going to call out Kyle's nonsense right here because this is the core of her entire season. She is still, even now, on that reunion couch protecting Mauricio's image.
She always protects him.
He's looking at it like a businessman. No, he is not. He is emotionally checked out. He has completely moved on from the marriage. He is compartmentalizing to a degree that borders on pathological because he simply does not want to deal with the emotional fallout of the life he blew up. Yeah. He refuses to hold space for her grief.
And then they admit they haven't even filed the actual legal paperwork for divorce yet. She says it's because it's scary and it will change the dynamic. They still have family dinners, they sleep in different rooms, but they have coffee in the kitchen in the morning.
It's bizarre.
She says she's afraid of what it will look like when it's official, that it makes it too real. But then, the hottest, most devastating tea of the entire night is dropped via a hot mic.
The sniper from the side we did not know we needed.
Rachel. Rachel leans over to Kathy Hilton while the cameras are supposedly focused elsewhere and gets caught on her mic saying Mauricio is living a completely different life in Los Angeles. Quote, I see him everywhere, 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
He is out there at the clubs, at the restaurants, acting like a single 25-year-old frat boy, while Kyle is sitting at home, holding on to this phantom idea of family stability.
Rachel delivering the ground-level Beverly Hills reconnaissance was incredible. She is out in the trenches doing the field work. But this entire situation raises a massive multi-million-dollar question. Let's look at the financial reality here.
Okay, wait on me.
We are talking about the agency, a real estate brokerage that has sold roughly $5 billion in property. Kyle confirmed on that stage that half of that massive $100 to $200 million empire is legally hers.
Because they started it together.
Right. Is Kyle staying married, intentionally avoiding filing those divorce papers just to hold on to her half of the agency until it finally goes public with an IPO?
Oh, wow. Wait, explain how that works. Why wouldn't she just divorce him and take half now?
Because of California community property laws and the complexity of valuing a privately held company, if she files for divorce right now, they have to hire forensic accountants to figure out exactly what the agency is worth today. It's incredibly messy, it takes years, and a private company's valuation is highly subjective.
Right. They could argue it's worth way less.
Exactly. Mauricio could argue it's worth less to pay her out less. But If she stays legally married until the company launches an initial public offering, an IPO, where it is sold on the stock market, the market dictates the exact value in liquid cash.
Oh, my God.
Her 50% stake becomes instantly calculable and astronomically more valuable. She could walk away with a clean, massive payout rather than a messy, dragged-out legal fight over private shares.
Honestly.
Yes.
I absolutely think she is playing the long game, and I applaud her for it. She stood by him when he was entirely broke. She used her family connections to help him build that life and that clientele. She is not walking away before the big payout. Secure the bag, Kyle.
It's the only thing that makes logical sense.
And speaking of massive wealth and bizarre behavior, I lost my absolute mind when Kathy Hilton answered her actual ringing cell phone on the reunion stage.
While Kyle is in the middle of dissecting the painful, heartbreaking dissolution of her 30-year marriage, the phone rings, Kathy digs into her bag, looks at the screen, and literally answers it.
The sheer entitlement, the absolute unhinged kookiness of it. And earlier in the day, she was complaining to the makeup artist about being bloated because she fell for an AI-generated Jell-O and apple cider vinegar diet she saw on Facebook.
I mean, what even is her life?
Kathy is operating on a frequency that human science cannot measure. She's on a completely different planet than the rest of us.
She is a chaotic, neutral force of nature. She possesses the kind of terrifying wealth where the normal rules of social decorum simply cease to apply to her. But let's move from the subtle, bizarre chaos of Kathy Hilton to the absolute nuclear fallout happening on the other side of the stage. Erika versus Dorit.
Erika was ready to scorch the earth. She was vibrating with rage.
She was terrifying.
Dorit accuses Erika of coming for her this season just to save her job. Dorit actually brings up the fact that Erika took a pay cut this season, implying that Erika had to artificially manufacture drama with Dorit just to secure her paycheck and ensure she got asked back.
Which is an incredibly dangerous breaking of the fourth wall. On reality television, you can accuse someone of being a bad friend, a liar, or a cheat. But to explicitly accuse someone while the cameras are rolling of starting a fight purely for the meta reason of fulfilling their reality TV contract.
You just don't do it.
That threatens the entire illusion of the show. It exposes the scaffolding. But what's amazing is that Erika explodes, completely unbothered by the pay cut comment itself, because she is entirely focused on the fact that Dorit said Boz was a better friend to her.
Erika was seeing red. But the context around this fight, the off-camera gossip that dropped in the blogs this week, I am screaming about PK's absolute audacity.
This is where the facade truly crumbles. The deep investigative work done by Dana Wilkie this week gave us the missing pieces to this entire puzzle.
She spilled everything.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Dorit is lashing out at Erika. She is lashing out at Kyle. She is actively burning down the Fox Force 5 alliance, not because of a book cover party, but because her real life with PK is entirely collapsing.
The bombshells. PK does this interview on a podcast completely separate from the Bravo universe and casually admits he staged Dorit's entire casting for the show.
Unbelievable.
He claims he threw a fake, highly produced dinner party, filled it with eclectic people like Boy George and a random blind painter, just to convince the producers that Dorit lived this fabulous, fascinating, eccentric life. He completely manufactured her reality TV origin story.
He admitted he did it specifically for the fame. He orchestrated the audition, got her the gig, and then in the exact same breath during this interview calls the Housewives franchise toxic and essentially blames the show for the demise of their marriage.
It makes me so mad.
He is blaming the cameras while simultaneously dealing with what? Massive, terrifying financial realities. We're talking about formal notices of default, a missed 4-month string of mortgage payments on their Encino mansion, nearly $1 million in IRS back taxes, and a DUI arrest on the 101 freeway.
How can he possibly blame the television show when the show has barely even touched the reality of his scandals? The headlines are insane. Bouncing checks at a casino at the Bellagio, massive gambling debts, moving out of the family home into a Beverly Hills hotel, and making out with random women in front of paparazzi.
He's spiraling.
He is the ultimate walking red flag, and he has the absolute nerve to sit there and blame the cameras for his marriage failing while taking credit for getting his wife on those cameras in the first place.
It is the ultimate narcissistic pivot. He creates the monster, profits off the monster, and then plays the victim when the monster eats him. And meanwhile, look at who Dorit is arguing with. Erika is sitting right next to her on that couch, knowing her own massive $25 million lawsuit is currently being sold off for absolute pennies, $2 million. to an affiliate company connected to Marco Marco.
Okay, wait, pause. I read that headline, but my brain completely glazed over. How do you sell a lawsuit? And what does Marco Marco have to do with it?
Right, so in the legal world, specifically in bankruptcy proceedings, a legal claim or a lawsuit is considered an asset. The bankruptcy trustee managing Tom Girardi's estate had a $25 million claim against Erika, arguing she received stolen money.
Okay, tracking.
But lawsuits are expensive and take years to fight. So instead of fighting it in court, the trustee essentially auctioned off the right to sue Erika. A third-party company bought the lawsuit for roughly $2 million. Now that company owns the right to go after Erika for the $25 million.
That is so wild.
And the plot twist. The company that bought it is heavily rumored to be funded by the designer behind Marco Marco, whom Erika and Tom allegedly conspired against years ago, leading to his arrest. It is a revenge purchase.
My jaw is completely on the floor. That is terrifying.
Exactly. So the financial desperation on that specific side of the room is palpable. You have Dorit drowning in IRS debt and foreclosures, and Erika fighting a revenge lawsuit bought by a former enemy. That is why they are fighting so viciously over absolute nonsense. It is a displacement of anxiety. It is not about who invited who to a book cover launch. It is entirely about survival.
It is so incredibly messy, which brings us perfectly into our segments. Babes, it is time for reunion receipts. Who came prepared and who got caught completely slipping?
The preparation award undeniably goes to Kyle. As I mentioned, as a true connoisseur of the printed receipt, watching her pull out the physical text messages to prove Dorit wasn't mad until Boz intervened was deeply satisfying.
The manila folder was iconic.
She didn't just paraphrase, she had the dates, the timestamps, and the exact verbiage highlighted. You cannot argue with the iCloud, Dorit.
She was so ready. But the caught slipping award, without a doubt, Boss, getting absolutely wrecked by the Bravo editors. She sat there so confidently, looking Amanda dead in the eye, saying, "When in the hell did I ever say that to you? Show me the tape."
And they did.
And the editors just hit play on the Vineyard flashback. It was a flawless victory for the control room, the hubris to challenge the cameras.
Moving to segment 2, deflection or defense. Who is actually answering the direct question and who is dancing around it?
Surprisingly, the person actually answering the question, with no caveats, is Sutton. When Andy brought up her drinking and the erratic behaviors from the season, I fully expected her to deflect, to blame the editing, to say she was just stressed, or to minimize it.
Me too.
But she owned it entirely. She admitted her relationship with alcohol was problematic, that she was drinking too frequently, and she apologized directly to Jennifer Tilly without adding a but at the end of it. That is real defense through actual accountability.
It's a remarkably rare strategy in Beverly Hills. Usually an apology is just a preamble to another accusation. The person doing the absolute most dancing, however, is Kyle.
It is so frustrating to watch. Andy asks her directly, multiple times, about her relationship with Morgan Wade, explicitly referencing the fact that Dorit was keeping a secret about the timeline. And Kyle just looks at the ceiling and gives us this massive, confusing word salad about what is meant for public consumption and protecting my peace.
It means nothing.
Just answer the direct question. Are you together or not?
She is heavily utilizing what I call the Lisa Vanderpump defense mechanism. She is prioritizing the protection of the overarching brand at the cost of on-camera authenticity. She wants the audience sympathy of the heartbreak storyline, crying at the old house, without the vulnerability of sharing her actual current reality with Morgan. It is highly calculated deflection. She gives the illusion of transparency while revealing absolutely nothing.
Let's do an alliance check. Who is standing strong and who is quietly switching sides?
Standing strong, Rachel, firmly and confidently planting herself on the Hilton Richards side of the stage. She is actively feeding Kathy intel about Mauricio's single-guy escapades.
She's doing the Lord's work.
She is the loyal, embedded scout reporting back from the trenches of the Los Angeles nightlife scene. She sees the writing on the wall regarding who holds the true power in this cast, and she is aligning herself accordingly.
She really is the sniper from the side. She just drops a bomb and then quietly sips her water. But switching sides. Dorit. She has completely abandoned the Facts Force 5. She took a match to her 10-year alliance with Kyle, torched her friendship with Erika, burned the entire history to the ground, and is now desperately latching on to Boz for survival. It is a massive seismic shift in the ecosystem of the show.
It is a purely tactical realignment. She knows her time is running out. She needs a new protector, and Boz is currently the loudest voice in the room. Finally, segment 4, too quiet, too loud. Who needed to say more and who needed to say LES?
Okay, we are completely united in Snark on this one. Who needed to say more, Amanda? Give us absolutely anything. Stop talking in corporate manifestation buzzwords. Stop talking about abundance and show us a real human personality. Tell us about the affiliate programs, defend your business with actual numbers, yell at boss. Just stop being so perfectly blank.
The curated perfection is a void. We need friction to make good television, and she is giving us a polished marble surface. And as for who needed to say less, Kathy Hilton.
Taking a literal phone call on the reunion stage while her sister is pouring her heart out about a crumbled 30-year marriage. It is so unhinged, so deeply entitled, and honestly hilarious in a very dark way, but she definitely needed to speak less into her iPhone at that exact emotionally devastating moment.
The situational awareness is absolutely zero.
It is in the negative numbers.
Okay.
Okay, Snark Squad, before we wrap up this absolute spiral, we want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over as you head into your weekend.
Let's circle all the way back to that PK podcast confession. He admitted on the public record that he completely staged Dorit's entire personality, her social circle, the extravagant dinner party, all of it, just to secure a Bravo casting.
Which is completely mind-blowing. If PK entirely fabricated Dorit's reality TV origin story, what does that mean for the legacy of this entire franchise? How many other iconic Housewives introductions, the ones we have obsessively watched, analyzed, and believed for years, were totally manufactured by desperate husbands or publicists working behind the scenes?
It forces you to question the architectural integrity of every single reality TV origin story we have ever consumed. How much of what we accept as the foundation of these shows is just a well-produced audition tape?
I am questioning everything I have ever watched. My entire reality TV worldview is shaken. Snark Squad, thank you so much for hanging out and spiraling with us tonight. We appreciate you so much.
Please remember to share this episode with a friend who appreciates a deep, highly analytical dive into reality TV chaos, and leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform.
Babes, we started with margaritas and brunch plans and ended up deep in reunion chaos as we do. Stay bold, stay messy, and we will see you on the Snark side.